Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we did in the last class, this was about force, right? So let's do a brief recap, right? And then we'll proceed further. So what we talked about was this, that if you have a current carrying wire, so if you have a current carrying wire carrying current I, or whatever the value is, and it's producing a magnetic field B here, and if in this magnetic field, if you'll project a charged particle with a velocity v, then it will experience a force F, which will be given as Q V cross B, right? Now, if you'll expand this relation, you'll get F is equals to Q V B sine theta, and with that you have a unit vector N. So force can be written as QVB sine theta, unit vector N, where Q is the charge, V is the velocity, B is magnetic field, and theta is the angle between V and B. Right? The first thing we talked about was N. So what was N cap? N cap was a vector which was perpendicular to which was perpendicular to both V and B. And then from here we deduce that if force is perpendicular to velocity, the kind of motion which you will have will be uniform circular motion. The kind of motion which you'll have will be uniform circular motion. Then we talked about the properties of uniform circular motion. So if let's say a particle is moving in a circle, let's say with a velocity v, then what happens, since the force is acting perpendicular to it all the times, its direction will change, but its magnitude will remain same, and hence we concluded that kinetic energy will be a constant and momentum, which is a vector, will be variable. Then I told you, if you'll compare circular motion with this, then the force which is acting towards the center, which we call centripetal force, will always have a value of mv square by r. Right? Now the reason for this mv square by r in this particular case is the force due to magnetism. So I'll take this theta as 90 for simplicity, and I'll say qvb is equal to mv square divided by r. In this v and v will get cancelled out. You'll get the value of r as mv by qb. Then I told you that if using this you want to find out time period can be written as distance by speed. So distance is 2 pi r, speed can be written as v. So when you'll solve it, you'll get 2 pi m divided by qb. Right? V will get cancelled. Now then I told you one point to remember here, one important point to remember here, and the point was this, that this time period is independent of velocity. This time period you're talking about is independent of velocity. So it doesn't matter with what velocity the particle is moving, its time period will remain a constant, right? Got it or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Any questions on this? Any questions on this? No. Okay, great. So the next thing was, or you can say the last thing was this, that if you have your magnetic field vector like this, and your velocity vector is at a certain angle to your magnetic field vector, in that case you cannot solve it directly. So what I'll do, I'll take up components of this velocity vector. So in x direction, I'll call it Vx, and in y direction, I'll call it Vy. Then I told you that Vx is actually equal to V cos theta, and Vy is actually equal to V sin theta. Then I told you to analyze the motion separately. So one motion is like there is magnetic field here, and there is a velocity vector here. Angle between them is 90. So what I can say here is that mv square, mvy square by r is equal to qvyb, right? And when you'll solve it, you'll get the value of r as mvy divided by qb. So the only change which you'll have will be that instead of v, now you'll have vy. So r will now become mvy is v sin theta divided by q, and all the other quantities will have the same relation, right? Plus there's a motion like this, that magnetic field is here and velocity vector is in the direction of magnetic field, and we know that fx will be q v b and sine 0 because the angle between v and b is 0. So this force will be 0. So what force 0 means? Acceleration in x direction will be 0, which means whatever the velocity x will be, it will remain constant. Now if I'll analyze these two motions, I'm having a circular motion plus a linear motion, and if I'll combine these two, I'll get a motion like this, right? So particle is moving in a circle as well as it's moving forward. Then I defined one thing, which is the distance, horizontal distance traveled by the particle in one time period, and I called it pitch. So pitch is actually the horizontal distance covered by the particle in one time period. So horizontal speed is Vx, or time taken into consideration is capital T. So Vx can be written as V cos theta, and time period can be simply written as 2 pi m by qb. So this will be your pitch. So this is basically what we did in the last class. Questions on this?
No, sir.
Okay, great. So what we now discussed is that if there is a moving charge, how much will be the force that will act on the charge particle? Now in the presence of electric and magnetic field both, right? So there is sometimes they ask what is the relation between electric and magnetic field, right? I'll tell you that thing also. But let's say in the presence of electric and magnetic field both, right? So you have a system in which there is a presence of electric field as well as a magnetic field. Then if I'll ask you what will be the force, net force on the particle, can somebody tell me what will be the net force on the particle? Of charge q mass m, if you want those values. What will be the net force if electric field and magnetic field both are present? See, q v cross b is there because of magnetic field. What do you think? What we need to add if we have electric field also? Anyone?
KQ by R square.
Electric field, in terms of electric field, beta, you need to tell. If you know electric field, what's the force? If I'll say that electric field here is E, if I'll place a charge Q here, how much force it will experience?
EQ.
Isn't it Q times E? Yes or no? Are yes or no? If you have electric field E and you place a charge Q in that electric field, how much force that will experience?
Yes, sir.
QE, right? So here, this can be written as QE. And this force is what you call Lorentz force. Right? When you have presence of both electric and magnetic field. Now, electric field can be in any direction, magnetic field can be in any direction. Correct? Now, let's say I want to make the force zero. Just understand the statement. And I'll tell you what is the use of it. But let's say I want to make this force zero. Right? I want to make this force zero. Then what I want is this, that QE plus QV cross B should be equal to 0. Got this thing or not? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So QE can be written as minus of Q V cross B. Right? Now Q and Q will get cancelled out. So vector E should be equal to minus of vector V cross vector B. Right? Just see this relation. Now what this relation tells you is this. Direction of V cross B will be perpendicular to both V and B. For example, let's say V is in X direction or I cap. B is in Y direction, or you can say J cap. So can you please tell me what will be V cross B direction? V is in I cap direction, B is in J cap direction. What will be the direction of V cross B?
Plus Z.
Plus K cap, right?
Yes,
Z
sir.
plus Z actually, right? Plus K cap. And I have a minus sign here. So what it means basically is that what should be the direction of E then? What should be the direction of E then if I want this condition? Minus K cap. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? So if I want force on the particle to be zero in a system where electric and magnetic field both are present, then resultant direction of cross product you'll find out first, and opposite to that direction should be your electric field. Got it or not? Or you can say opposite to the direction of force. And this is one way of understanding it. So this is about direction. If I'll talk about magnitude, then in terms of magnitude, you can say E will be equal to V, and let's say the angle between them is 90. We are assuming for now it's 90, right? So that's an assumption that may or may not be true in every case, but let's say the angle is 90. So VB, so V can be written as E by V. This relation is very important, right? V is equal to E by V. So that means the velocity will depend on ratio of electric field and magnetic field. Now what's the use of it? That I'll tell you now. The use of it is something which you call velocity selector. Understood? Any questions on this analysis? Any question on this analysis?
No, sir.
So if you want to copy, I'll give you 1 minute. You can copy and then we can proceed. Done? Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, what is velocity selector say? If let's say, what the name suggests, first tell me what you're getting out of it. Velocity selector means what? That means you want a fixed velocity, right? So you'll input charge particles of different velocities, and the velocity which you want at the output for the charge particle should be a fixed value, right? So out of all the velocities, you want to select a single velocity at the output, right? So what it basically means is this: you have a system here. There are charge particles coming and the velocities are varying, right? One is V1, V2, V3. And at the output, you have some use of it. You can use it in any case, right? X-rays and all. But you want a fixed velocity outside, let's say V1. So this system should do what? It should reject all other velocities and only allow velocity V1 to come out, right? So that's the use of velocity selector, right? So you have multiple velocities, right? And you just want a single velocity to come out of the system. Now, how we're gonna do that is this. If I want a velocity of, let's say, V, I want it to be, let's say 10, 100, 1000, it's 1000 meter per second. Then what I'll want, first thing, V should be E by B. Yes or no? V is E by B. Because I want this to come here, V1, and I want it to go straight and come out of the system. I have made it a narrow channel like this, right? So there is a narrow opening here. So all the velocities are coming in, correct, like this. Sorry, I'll redraw it. So actually the thing is this, that there's a narrow opening here and you're sending charge particles like this, correct? Now what will happen is that I'll select E by B in such a way that this ratio turns out to be 1000. Right? I'll select E by B in a certain way such that the ratio turns out to be 1000. Now, if this is coming like this velocity or this particle can only go straight if force acting in this direction, that is, let's say QE, will balance force acting in this direction, which is, let's say, QVB. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This can only happen, the particle can go only straight when QE is getting balanced by QVB, or you can say V is this ratio, right? Now, if you have chosen electric field and magnetic field in this way, such that the ratio is 1000, what will happen? The particles which are having velocity as 1000 meter per second, on those particles force will be 0 and they'll be able to come out with the same velocity, and that is 1000 meter per second. Any particle who is having velocity less than this, I'll try to understand this point. Any particle which is having velocity less than 1000, QVB will decrease because V is decreasing. So if QVB decreases, QE will dominate and the particle will tilt in this direction slightly. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, this is for V less than, right? Now, if V becomes greater than 1000, now what will happen? QVB will increase until dominate over QE, because earlier they were equal. So the particle will deviate something like this. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So only the velocity which you want, that is 1000 meter per second, right? That is the velocity which you will get at the output. All other velocities will get deviated and there will be no path for them to move forward. And this device is what you call velocity selector. Got it or not? I'll give you 1 minute, just see it. If you're getting stuck anywhere, just ask.
So where is this device applied?
Let us see what happens is that, let's say you want X-rays, right? For example, let's say X-rays. So what you want certain energy of X-rays, right?
Yes, sir.
right? If energy increases or decreases, it will not work. It can harm actually, right?
Yeah.
So the specific amount of energy to be released. So what happens in an X-ray is that there are accelerated charge particles and there will be a target over here. Correct. Now I want a fixed velocity or fixed energy particle to strike this. Right. So somehow I need, let's say I want here half mv squared, some specific value of v. This much energy I need. If energy becomes greater than that, I will not be able to use it. Less than that, again, I will not be able to use it. Right?
Yes, sir.
So in this case, what happens? You'll have to control your velocity. I hope
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I got it.
it happens in that these things. Deflection plates and all were there in cathode ray, right? So the application was similar to this only,
Yes, sir.
right? So basically, you want to control the velocity of the particle which is there. You want to select basically a particular velocity and reject all others, right? Got it or not?
Yes, sir.
There is another device. Okay, I'll ask you a few questions in this. Tell me what is the direction of magnetic, what's the direction of electric field? I'll give you options. In this situation, the situation I gave you, which direction of electric field I have considered? A, I cap, J cap, K cap, fourth minus K cap. What's the direction I have considered for electric field? What's the direction of electric field I have considered? If I'm saying that the force is acting in this direction, अरे बहुत easy है.
J cap.
J cap, right? What's the direction of magnetic field I have considered? This one is tricky because this is the direction of force, remember. So what's the direction of magnetic field I have considered? Velocity is this way. What should be the direction of magnetic field so that I get a force in downward direction? If velocity is in I cap. Which option is correct?
K cap.
K cap. Very good. Right. Your magnetic field should be in outward direction. Right. And then when you'll do V cross B, you'll get the force in downward direction. Okay. So I wanted to ask this thing. I don't remember the name of the device, but is it particle accelerator or what you call it? Device.
Yes, sir.
What's the name?
Particle accelerator.
Accelerator. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay. There are D shapes will be there.
So I think it's like a ring.
Yeah, I get it. But the name is particle accelerator.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I remember what the device is, how it works, but I was getting confused with the name. So what happens in this is that you want to increase the velocity of the particle, right? That's the basic use. Not pretty sure about the name. Just check it once, right? But what the device is, it's a simple device. See, you have two D shapes, right? So they are basically conductor kind of thing, right? Now what you'll do in this is, you'll have a charge particle here, right? Or let's say here. You'll project it with a certain velocity. Right? You project it with a certain velocity. And there is magnetic field, right? In this region, you have magnetic field. And magnetic field direction is, let's say in this case, it's inwards. Correct? So the moment you will project this particle, what will happen? It will go in a circle like this, right? The circuit is not perfect, but it will go something like this in a circle. Just a minute. So what happens in general, if you project a particle, right, any direction you want, it will go in a circle like this and it will come back. correct? And it will continue to move with the same speed. Now, if you will connect a potential across it, so you have connected a potential across it. If you'll connect a potential across it, you have two choices. Either you'll connect a DC potential or you can connect a AC potential. Try to understand. If you just have magnetic field, then it will go in a circle because magnetic field is present in inward direction. It will go in a circle and it will continue to form the same circle. Nothing will change, right? It will continue to move. Now, if you want to apply electric field, there are two ways, right? You can put a DC signal over there and you can put a AC signal over there. So what a DC signal is? Can somebody tell what a DC signal is? Can somebody tell what's a DC signal? Anyone? Direct current, alternating current, anything. I'm asking basics, nothing. What's direct current? बता दो, कोई तो बता दो. What's direct current? मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, what's direct current? नहीं बोलोगे क्या तुम?
So it's flow of electrons in the same direction, like in a constant direction.
Yeah. So basically, potential, if it's positive, negative, it's AC, right? And if
Yes,
it's
sir.
positive or remains negative, it's DC. Simple. Correct? Okay, I'm trying my level best. Okay. So you have this, right? Now, if I'll apply a DC signal, what will happen? See, electric field will be developed. I'll tell you what will happen with DC signal. If I apply a DC signal, what will happen? There will be electric field in this direction. Charge is moving with the velocity v. So what will happen? The charge will get dragged in this direction. And as it comes, right? So first of all, what will happen? QVB is there. So it will get tilted. And it will not be a circle because it's getting dragged by QE also. But the moment it takes turn, now E will act opposite to it and its velocity will again decrease. And when it reaches here, there will be no gain. I hope you are getting my point. It's going like this and taking turn and getting dragged forward. But since it's taking turn, a point will come when velocity will become like this. Again, QVB is acting, so it will turn. So here, electric field was supporting it. Now, electric field will oppose its motion. So when it reaches back this point, its velocity will be same as this point, right? You will not gain anything. Understood this thing or not? In
Yes,
half
sir.
journey, electric field will support it, and for the remaining half, it will oppose it. So that means which kind of signal we need to apply here?
Alternating.
AC, right? So we need to apply an AC signal. I'll tell you how an AC signal will help. What will happen is that when the particle is doing this journey, I'll want my electric field to be like this, right? And when my particle does the other part, right? I want my electric field to shift in the opposite direction. For half of the circle, or you can say if you say complete circle, then it let's say starts from here. For this part of the circle, I want electric field to be like this. And for the other part, I want my electric field to be like that. Yes or no? Got it or not? Yes or no? If I want my velocity to be increasing continuously, then I want my electric field to have a component in the direction of velocity always. I repeat my point. If I want my velocity to increase, I want a component of electric field always to be in the direction of velocity. Right? So what will happen with that is, see, now I'll explain, right? So particle starts from here. Electric field is acting, let's say in this direction first, right? So what will happen because of that is, first thing, it will not be a circle. It will get just. So what will happen is that electric field is acting from left to right. So it tries to form a circle, but it will get dragged a little bit, right? As it completes half the circle, direction of electric field will change, and now then it will act from left to right. So, sorry, right to left now, and it will get dragged in the other direction. Again, stop here. Direction of electric field will again change. So again, its velocity will increase. Stop here. Again, direction of electric field will change. So again, its velocity will increase. Again, you'll stop here. Again, the direction of electric field will change. Correct? Are they got it or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah.
does the radius keep increasing because the velocity
Yeah.
is increasing?
Yeah, sure. That's why
Okay.
they are not circles, they are ellipses,
Yes, sir.
right? And radius keeps on increasing. Now, when it comes out, right, there will be small defect over here. So when it comes out, it will have much greater velocity as compared to the velocity which it had here. Yes or no? Are yes or no? Because it
Yes, sir.
was
Yes, sir.
continuously acting on it. So its velocity was continuously increasing. The moment it comes out, its velocity will be much, much greater than what was the velocity inside. But there are a few things which you need to remember. What's the time period for the particle? See, remember, time period is independent of velocity. So there is no problem that will happen to time period, right? Increasing velocity. So time period will be 2 pi mb. 2 pi m divided by qb, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, what should be the time period of AC signal? What should be the time period of AC signal?
It should be half the time period of
Right. So basically after just half or say beta time period of a AC signal means what?
yes, sir. It should be the same.
Yeah. One up and one down cycle, right?
Yes, sir.
What you want? For half the time it should be up and half the time it should be down. And that is what you call one time period of a AC signal. And it should be mapped with this, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Each circle has an upward cycle and a downward cycle, and that is what you call a time period for a wave, right? So that means time period of AC signal would also be how much? 2 pi m divided by q. If you will not have this criteria, this will not work, right? Now let's say you want to analyze how the radius will change. So if let's say you want to find out how the radius will change. So radius for the first part, r is actually mv divided by qb, right? mv divided by qb. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now what will be the change in velocity? Of course you can do q into v. Just see this, what I'm trying to do. Q into v is equal to half mv square. Yes or no? Or q into v is half mv squared. Yes or no? What's the potential you are applying? V. How much energy it will give to the charge? Q into v. What it is getting transformed into? Kinetic energy. Yes or no? मेरे बच्चों कुछ बोलो. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? So okay, when we'll have question, you'll understand this thing, right? But this way you can relate velocity and potential, and you can find out radius also, right? What will be the radius here, what will be the radius there, and so on and so forth, right? they'll give you that after how many turns you want to find out velocity. So you'll multiply this respective value with that number of times, right? But the crux of the story is this, that in the presence of magnetic field and electric field, right, if you use them precisely, then you can create a system in which if you put a low velocity or low energy charge particle, then when it comes out of the system, it will have a really high velocity, right? And that's why you call it particle accelerator, because the particle which you fed in was having very low velocity and it got accelerated inside, and the moment it comes out, it will have a really high velocity, right? So this velocity will be very high. Any question on this? Now construction you can study this. So these are what you call Ds. There will be some system of connection and all, right? But this is the basic principle which it has. Got it or not? बच्चों,
Yes, sir.
was there any other device? No, I think. Is there any other device? I think there wasn't. Let's see what is there. Okay, we call it cyclotron. The particle accelerator, we call it cyclotron. Okay. क्वेश्चन ही नहीं, चलो एक क्वेश्चन हो जाए. If you have any doubts, just think, ask. Right? If you have any. You don't mind looking for a question. Okay, let's do a question now. So it's given that magnetic field B is given as 30 milli or micro. If it's M, milli or micro?
Milli.
Milli, right? So B is the magnetic field and the value is given to you. There's an electron, right? Oh, sorry, there is a proton basically, or you can say plus E. Charge, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 with a positive sign. Mass is 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27. It's given, right? And this particle is being projected with a velocity v, which is given to you as 4.8 into 10 to the power 6 meter per second, and direction is plus y direction, right? And you'll have to find out force on the charge particle in magnitude and direction. So first thing is force in terms of magnitude and direction both. Second thing is what will be the force on a negatively charged particles. If we'll make it negative, then what will happen? And the third thing is you'll have to tell me what will be the path followed. Right, simple. What will be the path followed? It's easy. Anyone got the answer? अरे किसी का आंसर आया कुछ? Anyone got the answer?
So I got 1.4 into 10 power 6 in the plus z direction.
You got what you got? 1 point?
The force 1.4 into 10 power 6.
What they have given the answer as
10 power 5, so.
no, they have given 230.4 into 10 to the power minus 16.
I got the wrong one.
Okay. Did you put the value as 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19?
No, so I'll just check where I went to.
You need QVB, right?
Yes, I put that as the wrong value.
That M is given to you, that 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg is given to you to find out the radius of the circle finally, path followed, right? For that part they have given you M. For charge, you need to take 1.67 into 10 to, sorry, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 90.
Yes, sir.
Has anyone got the answer? It should be 230.4 into 10 to the power minus 16. 230.4 into 10 to the power minus 16. This should be the answer which you should get. Anyone got the same answer?
Sir,
Yeah. What happened?
I got 230.4 into 10 raised to the power minus 13.
It should be minus 16 beta. Wo MT what you to see. Just check whether where you went wrong. F can be written as Q V cross B, right? Q V cross B. Now value of Q is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, right? V is 4.8 into 10 to the power 6. B is 30 into 10 to the power minus 3. All of you wrote the same thing? In middle solid, you should get 230.4 into 10 to the power minus 16.
Yes, sir, that's what I
minus 6.
So, and what's the direction?
plus z.
Plus?
Z direction.
Okay. If the charge becomes negative, so that's the first answer. For second one, what's the answer? What will change?
The direction.
So it will be 230.4 into 10 to the power minus 16, and the direction will now be minus k. Third one, you need to find out radius. What will be the radius? MV divided by Q.
1.67 meters.
1.67 meters. Correct. Right. What's the value of M? You can check it by yourself, but this is the correct answer. You'll have 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27. It's in kgs, so no need to change units. V can be written as 4.8 into 10 to the power 6 meter per second. Again, it's in SI units, so no need to change it. Q will be 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs, SI unit. Fine. B is not in SI units, so you'll change it. You'll write 30 into 10 to the power minus 3 Tesla. That's it. When you put the values, you'll get it. Right? Any questions on this? It's fairly simple one, right? Just you'll have to put the values and solve it, right? That's it. Okay, so we discussed till now that what will be the force acting on a charged particle, right? If it's moving with a velocity v, in the presence of magnetic field alone, and if you have magnetic and electric field both, then what will be the force that will act on it? That will be QE. Also, you'll have to take into account, right? Now, if I'll talk about a current carrying wire, so now the topic is actually force, precisely magnetic force on a current carrying wire. Right, so now you'll try to find out what will be the force on a current carrying wire. Now, why there will be a force on current carrying wire? First thing, because you can treat it as we were having single charge which was moving with a velocity v. Now you'll have combination of such charges, right? Because what's current? It's the flow of a number of charges, right? So instead of a single charge, you will have multiple charges which are moving. And since a moving charge experiences a force, so a current carrying wire will also experience a force because it's made up of charges which are moving, right? So that's a brief idea about it, right? So we'll take up a small segment of a wire, right? If you'll take a small segment of a wire, if I'll ask you how much will be the charge on a small segment, so there is a long wire, right? You can take a long wire if you want. So there are some coordinates here, there are some coordinates there, and length is, let's say, L. So if you'll take a small segment of the wire, let's say volume is dV, right? Because remember when we defined current, we took that as A into dx, right? So if you magnify it, it looks something like this. You have taken a cross section basically, which is having an area A and width dx, correct? And A into dx is dV. Then I told you I defined one thing that was N. And what was N? Can somebody tell me for a wire what was N? In current electricity we did this. What was the value of N? Means what was the meaning of N? This N. So small n was what? It was something related to charge carriers. What was it? Number of charge carriers per unit volume, right? So this was basically number of charge carriers per unit volume, right? This was okay. So if I'll take this small segment and I want to find out what will be the force on this small segment, then first of all I know that the formula is QV cross B. So I need to first have Q. B is external, which is here. Let's call it, there is some magnetic field because of some source magnet or something. There is some B, right? Charges are moving with, of course, drift velocity, right? If I ask you what is the value of Q, one by one we'll try to find out. Or let's call it dQ because you have considered only a small segment. That will be N right? N is the number of charge carriers per unit volume, and we are talking about a volume dV. Yes or no? And then I'll multiply it with charge on an electron, or whatever, positive or negative. It depends which direction you are considering, right? So N E D V. This is the amount of charge which is flowing. Any question on this? Any question on this?
No, sir.
No, right? Now if I'll ask you what is dF, that is the force which is acting on this element, this small element. This can be written as dq vd cross b. What is this? What is this?
Drift velocity.
Drift velocity. Why we are considering drift velocity? Because we are talking about current. So charges are moving with this velocity, right? This average velocity. And then you have, if you'll expand this, you'll get NE drift velocity into B, and then you have dV. Correct? Yes or no? Yes or no, beta?
Yes, sir.
Now I is actually NEAVD. Yes or no? I is NEAVD. So from here, NEAVD, if I'll remove A, so I'll get I by A is equal to NEVD. I by A can be written as NEVD. So I can write here NEVD. Let's see. So N is there. I'll first explain this, then I'll proceed further, right? This can be written as A into, you can call it, let's say DL, small element, right? Divided by, oh, that's fine, DF. Correct? Now if I'll write, then NEVD, instead of that, I can write I, or just write it without vectors, right? It will be easy to explain then. NEVD, then you have B, then you have A, and then you have DL, right? Now instead of NE and VD, I can write I by A. So I by A into B into DL. Yes or no? Sorry, A will also get cancelled out. So I by A B DL, there was one A which will get cancelled out with this. So you get I B DL. Yes or no?
So what is I?
I is current. अरे यार तुम खो गए. Okay, I'll tell you an easier way to remember, don't worry. But what I'm trying to tell you is here, just see. So dF is equal to this value. So if I want to find out F, I'll tell you in another way that will be more simpler. F then can be written as integration of this value. Now just see one thing which I want to tell you here. If I and B are constants, right? Then this will be IB integration of DL. From initial limit, that means initial coordinates, right? Initial coordinates, so L initial, and then I'll have final coordinates, L final. And if I'll solve this, I'll get L final, or I'll write it here rather, I'll get IB L final minus L initial. Now see, does this L final and L initial depends on what the shape of the conductor is?
No, sir.
No, right? अच्छा तुम खो गए. दूसरे तरीके से बताता हूँ, वो ज़्यादा easy रहेगा. Forget about this, right? I'll tell you the easier way. I thought of revising all those things, that's why I told you that way, but it's fine. F can be written as df can be written as dq into vd cross b. Simple. I can be written as dq by dt. Yes or no? Yes or no? अरे अब तो बोल दो.
Yes, sir.
So dq can be written as I dt. I can put the value here. So I'll get df is equal to I dt. Then I have vd cross b. dt is a scalar I can take in. So I'll get df is equal to I vd into dt cross b. Yes or no? अरे yes or no मेरे बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
Now if let's say length, complete length is L, then vd into dt will be the displacement covered in dt time. And let's say that is this small displacement covered in dt time, and that is dl. Since this is velocity, that will be displacement. So df can be written as I dl cross b. If I'll ask you f, it can be written as integration of I dl cross b. Got it or not? अब इससे ज्यादा इजी नहीं हो सकता है. अरे बच्चों, yes or no? Got it or not?
Got it, sir.
अब सही है, चलो. Right. Now if let's say you want to integrate it, then I is a constant. I is a constant. Integration of dl cross b. Right. And if for example I'm assuming that the angle between them is 90, if you will take sin theta also, doesn't matter, but let's assume the angle between them is 90. So if theta is equal to 90, then f can be written as f can be written as f integration dl into b. Now if b is a constant, then b can be taken out. This will be integration of dl from L1 to L2, let's say, initial limit to final limit. So if I'll write down indefinite integration, then this will be IB into L. And with definite integration, it will become IB into L2 minus L1. Yes or no? Arey yaar.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what it basically means, you will just consider two things. One is what this final coordinate is, and what this initial coordinate is. In what way you are reaching there, it's independent of that. Got it or not? So just remember one thing, this L or this DL, what I'm saying, it's displacement, not distance. It's VD into DT. VD is a vector. So this L, when you're talking about this L, it's displacement. Right? It's displacement. It's change in position. Right? It's not a scalar. Got it or not? Yes or no? So if I'll place a closed loop like this, closed loop having current I, what will be the force on this? What will be the force on this? What do you think? Integration from where it will start till end there only. Yes or no? If let's say you start from this point, if you want to cover the whole wire, final limit will also come here. Yes or no? Arey say something. Yes or no? Arey mere bachcho, if you have some coordinates here, that's your initial limit. If you want to go through the whole wire and come back, final limit will also be same. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And if both the limits are same, L2 minus L1 will be 0 or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So F net for a closed surface will be. Any questions on this? अब इसमें बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है. Can I proceed further now? अगर ये आ गया हो थोड़ा थोड़ा तो नहीं आया क्या बच्चों? So this is basically I L cross B. If it's variable, you'll write DL cross B. If it's constant, just L cross B. Simple. Right? With example, you'll understand. So let's see. If there is magnetic field B, and in this magnetic field, you have placed a current carrying wire I, and the current is flowing like this. Can you tell me what will be the force? Force is I L cross B, because everything is constant. I am not considering any variable, any tilt in wire, nothing is there, right? So this is the formula which will apply where L is the length of the wire, right? Means displacement, distance between this point and this point. So IL cross B. So F can be written as in magnitude IL B, because the direction of displacement is the direction of current, right? An angle between current and magnetic field is 90. So sine theta will become 1. What will be the direction of force? Can somebody tell me what will be the direction of force? I wrote down magnitude. I want direction. I want direction here. L is the direction of I. So first vector will be in J cap. Second vector is in minus K cap. So J cap cross minus K cap.
Minus X direction.
Minus
X.
right? So this is the direction of force. Very good. So that's the direction of force. Now instead of this, if I had taken a wire, let's say something like this, right? Will the force change? Will the force change?
No, sir.
No, right? Why? Provided of course current and all is same. If I'll take this wire, will the force change? Current is like this only. No. Reason being, it depends on displacement. Right? Magnetic field is same, current is same, displacement between the initial and the final point is same. So force also remain same. Correct? So what it basically means is that if you have a wire, let's say magnetic field like this, and if you have a wire like this, for example, then what you will calculate, you will not be worried about what the natural length is, right? What the total length is. You will just be worried about what this length is. Let's call it L1, and this length, let's call it L2. So if I'll ask you, F is whether I L2B or F is I L1B, which one is correct?
L1.
L1.
This one is correct, right? And this one is. If let's say the current is flowing like this, right? And your magnetic field is in inward direction. You can consider it as a square. So A, right? You'll have to tell me whether this loop, right, which is carrying a current I in magnetic field B, is in equilibrium or not.
So it's in equilibrium.
It's in equilibrium or not. So A is yes and B is no.
Yes, sir.
So it's in equilibrium, right? Why? Because it's a closed loop, net force is 0, so it's in equilibrium, right? Okay. Understood up to this point? Any question on this? Because next question I'm going to ask relevant to this, right? So understood this thing? Any question on this? It's in equilibrium because it's a closed loop. So force on every single, let's analyze this, right? So that you get a better picture. So if let's say I'll take this segment of the wire, then current is in upward direction, magnetic field is in downward direction, so force will be like this. If I'll take this segment here, then current is in minus I cap direction, Magnetic field is minus k cap direction and force will be something like this. Right? You can apply your method which you apply. Current is in downward direction. Magnetic field is in inward direction. If you'll apply, then you'll get force like this. And here similarly you'll get a force like this. Now you can see everywhere the force is equal and opposite, right? Because sides are equal, current is equal, magnetic field is equal, right? So everything is equal and they are opposite in direction. So net force is 0. There is no problem, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, one more question that can be asked from here is, if the loop is elastic, that means it can change its dimension. What will happen? Whether it will compress or expand,
Compress.
will get compressed, right? So sometimes they'll ask you a question, right? They'll put a circular loop, they'll give you some direction of magnetic field and they'll ask you whether radius will increase, decrease or what will happen, right? So since the forces are in inward directions, it will get compressed, right? Got it or not? Yes or no? I think आ गया होगा तुम्हें, क्योंकि तुम लोग genius भी तो हो. Next is, let's say again you have a circular loop, right? And now something will change. Now the magnetic field lines are like this. So magnetic field lines are like this. And current direction is like this. Is it in equilibrium now? What do you think? The question is it in equilibrium? Okay, let me simplify it for you.
Sir, isn't it a couple force?
Yeah, there will be a couple force, correct. I'll give you an option. Let's rephrase this question a little bit. F net equal to 0, B, tau net equals to 0, C, F net is not equal to 0, D, tau net is not equal to 0. Multiple correct. Multi correct hai ye.
Sir, A and D.
F net is 0, tau net is non-zero, right? Let's check. If I'll take this wire, right, this one, current is in j cap direction and magnetic field is in I cap direction. So if you'll find out direction of force, it will come out, I think, inwards. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if I'll ask you for this segment, magnetic field and current are anti-parallel, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what will be the force if they are parallel or anti-parallel?
0.
Because theta is 0 or 180, right? Now talk about this segment. Current is in minus j cap direction and magnetic field is in I cap direction. So when you'll find out cross product of this, you will get the direction in outward direction. Yes or no? Similarly, the last segment, if you'll talk about, then magnetic field and current are parallel to each other. So angle between them is 0. And if angle between them is 0, forces. Understood this thing or not? They got it or not? Batao. Anyone, if you haven't understood, do let me know. I'll explain again. I got it or not?
Yes, sir.
So if I'll ask you what's the net force, you'll say for this it's 0, for this it's 0. And here if one force is there in minus k cap direction, one force is there in k cap direction, so force is surely 0. But you can by common sense also say that from this edge you are trying to lift the wire above the plane of the paper, and from here you are trying to push it inside the plane of the paper, so it will tilt a little bit, right? Or you can just some rotating effect you'll be able to see. Yes or no? Are yes or no? बच्चों, yes or no? So there is a torque for sure. So this is not equal to 0 because it will rotate. How much that torque is, we'll find out, right? But surely net force is 0, right? And this is the basic principle of a motor. That there are two things. One is generator, one is motor, right? One is generator and the other one is motor. What motor does? Can somebody tell me what motor does, or what's the primary difference between these two? A generator and a motor.
Generator converts electrical and mechanical energy to electrical, but motor is
Generator converts bit of mechanical to electrical, right? Mechanical. And what motor does?
electrical to mechanical.
Now if you see this system, what is happening over here?
Electrical to mechanical.
So what it basically means, you are supplying it current. And because of that, the coil is rotating, right? So whatever you will connect with it, that will rotate. Yes or no? So basically you are converting current into motion, right? So that's a basic principle of a motor. So when you will supply current in magnetic field, it generates some sort of motion. The reverse of it will be, which you'll study in electromagnetic induction, that if you rotate something in magnetic field, it creates current. That's just the opposite of it. That will be the principle for generator. But in this case, you are having electricity, current is there with you, and using that, you are turning the object. And this is which we use in galvanometer also. In galvanometer, what happens? There is a device in which if you feed current, its needle should deflect in certain way. Right? So when current passes through it, it should deflect and should tell you what the value is. So what they do is, as the current passes, it will get a structure something like this. And if you'll connect a needle here, the needle will rotate. And they have some device, they have some mechanism here, right? I'll show you. There's a torsional cable, right? So they calibrate that, okay, if it rotates this much by this much amount, that means this much current. If it rotates by that much amount, this much current, right? So they calibrate, correct? So whenever current passes, this needle will move and you'll get to know that how much current is flowing. Right? So that's a basic principle for that also. And its construction is also easy. If you have a horseshoe magnet, like this, right? Let's say, so if you have a magnet like this, so there is South Pole, there is North Pole. So north to south, you have magnetic field. You'll take up a loop like this and you'll connect it to a battery. Simple. So you'll get current. Or in this case, from wherever the current is coming. And as the current passes through the coil rotates and gives you the value what the current is flowing. Got it or not? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what will be the torque? Can somebody tell me how to find out this torque? We know that the torque is there, right? What will be the value of torque? Torque का formula कोई बता दो जल्दी से. What was the formula for torque? बेटा ऐसे टाइप का कुछ देखा है कभी? Torque is equal to R cross F. What was R?
The distance from the axis.
Right. So what we can say here is that, let's say this is your origin. This distance will be how much? Let's say the length is A, so A by 2. This distance is how much? A by 2. Force is how much? ILB or ILA. On this wire, what will be the force? IAB. I instead of L you have A, and B is the magnetic field. Here also what's the force? IAB. Yes or no? फटाफट बताओ, what's the net torque? What's the net torque? R F. I'm talking about this one first, right? So R F is IAB. What's the direction of torque? R cross F. R is in I cap direction, F is in minus K cap direction. Remember, R is in I cap direction and F is in minus K cap direction. So tell me, what is the direction of R cross F?
Minus J cap.
Minus J cap.
J.
What about the second one? A by 2 will remain same, IAB will remain same because force and distances are same. Can you tell me direction? Now R is in minus I cap direction. This is the direction of R. R is in minus I cap direction and F is in K cap direction. R is in minus I cap direction and force is in K cap direction.
So this is the minus J.
Minus J cap, right? You'll get the same direction. So what you can say basically is that the torque will get added up. So IAB, A by 2 will become A, and A into A will become A square B. Yes or no? Beta, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll just introduce a term here. I into A square, this term. Isn't it current in the closed loop multiplied by area of the loop? Yes or no? Isn't it the current of the loop multiplied by area of the loop? सोचो, मुझे बताओ, हाँ या ना? Current in the loop multiplied by area?
Yes, sir. If it's a square loop.
Right. So this quantity I into A square is what you call magnetic moment, right? So M is basically, it's a vector and it is I into A. We'll talk this more about this, right? But just now I wanted to introduce it here. So M is magnetic moment. Right? Magnetic moment. So M into B. Right? So torque can be written as magnetic moment multiplied by magnetic field. So magnetic moment multiplied by magnetic field. And if you want to write it down in terms of vector notation, then the final formula for torque can be written like this. Torque can be written as M cross. This is an important formula which you need to know. I'll tell you what the significance of M is. It's a really important parameter, right? But magnetic moment for at this stage is just current into area. That's it, right? Multiplied by B is your torque. So torque is magnetic moment multiplied by magnetic field.
Now, is magnetic moment only for closed loop?
Yeah. For closed surfaces.
Okay.
But in open surface, how will you have current? In open loop, you cannot have current, right?
No, I meant if you consider a single straight wire with current flowing.
Yeah, again, it will be joined somewhere. So you cannot define it. For a straight wire, you will not have area either.
Yes, sir.
Define it. It's defined for closed loop. Okay, if I'll just ask you whether you've understood this thing or not. If let's say there is a circle of radius r in magnetic field B, what's the magnetic moment for it? Current I. What will be the magnetic moment? Current I, radius of the circle is r. Are I into what's the area of a circle? What's the area of a circle?
Pi r square.
Yes, that's it. So that's a magnetic moment for a circle.
Yes, sir.
Any question on this? Just see this analysis, right? And if you're facing problem with any of the steps, do ask. You know, question that why to take origin there? Take origin wherever you want. You'll get the same answer. You can take the origin anywhere you want. You'll get the same answer. Because that's the beauty of torque. If you'll study, you must have studied this, what you call it. Yeah, rotational dynamics. In that, what happens is, for different points, torque will be different. Right? If you'll take let's say origin at a certain distance, torque will be something. If you'll change your origin, torque will change. But couple, right? This is a condition of coupling, right? So in case of couple, the beauty is any point, right? You take any point and you'll get the same torque. That only happens when you have a couple. Otherwise, what will happen if you change your origin? Torque will be different. The only exception is if you have couple at any point, right? It doesn't matter whether it's on the wire, at the edge of the wire, outside the wire. Doesn't matter which point you are considering, you'll get the same torque. And you can try it by yourself also. You'll get the same torque. Got it or not? Because if you shift your origin, let's say to the wire in which force is acting in minus k cap direction, what will happen? Instead of a by 2, you'll have a, again the same result. If we'll shift it towards left, again instead of a by 2, you'll have a, same answer. If we'll shift it further, what will happen? Torque of the first wire will get cancelled out or subtracted from the torque of the second wire. So again you will get a. Right? So it doesn't matter which point you are considering, you get the same torque. But this is only possible in case of a couple. Not otherwise. Otherwise, if you take torque for a different point, you'll get a different torque. Got it or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What should I tell now? Okay, just a minute. Okay. What should I ask? Okay, let's take a frame a question. Let's say there is some magnetic field like this. There is some platform, right, or wire or whatever you want to take up, right? And it's, let's say, connected to some battery source. right? Somehow current can flow through it. And there is a human. Right? Now, if a current flows through this, and of course there is an insulator in between. If a current flows through it, then there will be a force that will act on it, and that is what you call magnetic force. In which direction that will act? Current is I. In which direction that will act? Anyone? Upwards? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
ILB I can write. If this is equal to mg, if this is equal to mg, the person can float, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What we call it, there is a name for it. That if you have some sort of structure, right? Either supply current to it or place some magnet, something, so that it has a force on it. And this force balances that force. And it seems as if the person is in air. You must have studied this term, must have heard this term at least.
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Like we have trains and all using magnetic levitation.
What happens in that case basically is that why we use it, first thing, if you are using magnetic levitation, actually there is no contact, so friction criteria will not come into picture, right? And apart from that, what you can have is actually the things can float, right? I'll give an example of this thing. I don't remember exactly, but there was some statue there, right? But I think of Lord Shiva, no, not I, but that's a max I can make, right? So what happened was that there are walls like this, and this statue floats, right? So earlier people weren't aware, or they were aware, but actually if you'll see it at first sight and you haven't studied magnetism, then it's floating, right? It's magic. So what happened actually was that they placed a magnet here, 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 and a magnet here. Now, if this is north pole of the magnet and this is also north pole of the magnet, although you'll have south poles also. So what will happen? This will repel. Similarly, if these two have same polarity, this will also repel and this will also repel. So this thing will float. So this is an example of magnetic levitation, right? So by virtue of force or by virtue of current, the basic thing is a force because of magnetism is being applied, right? I'll relate these two also, right? How this ILB and this magnet thing is related. I'll tell you that thing also. But understood this thing or not? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The objects can float because of magnetic force. That's the point I was trying to make. That's it. Nothing else. And if you get a question like this, you'll just have to remember that ILB you should balance with mg. Right? They can ask you what should be the length of wire required, the current required, magnetic field required, and they'll give you the other quantities. Right? You so just have to balance and find out the value. Okay. Let me see if we have questions. Torque we did. Cool. Okay, that's it. You don't have any question on this. Okay, so in the next class, what we'll do, we'll study magnetic field, right? So in magnetic force, you just have two cases. One is magnetic force on the charge and one is magnetic force on wire. So I'll just explain those two and then you can read, right? And if you find some questions based on this, please do solve them. Right? They are there in your module, right? So look for it. So I'll tell you what is there in force, right? On this side, on a charged particle, what the concept was that if there is magnetic field, and in that magnetic field you project a charged particle with a velocity v, then F that will act on it is q v cross b. On the other hand, if you have a current carrying wire I in a magnetic field B, then the force that will act on it will be I L cross V, right? Or in general you can write F as I integration of dl cross, where L represents displacement. Then when we proceeded further with this, we got to know R is equal to mv by qb by centripetal force 2 pi m divided by qb, and so on, right? Then if angle between them is not 90, so theta is not 90 degree, then in that case R was mv sine theta by qb. T was same, but there was something which we called pitch, which was v cos theta into time period, which was 2 pi m divided by qb, right? When angle was 0, then force was 0, or you can say acceleration was 0, you can say velocity was constant, right? Now in this case, if I'll expand this, I'll get I LB sine theta. If theta is 0, that means direction of current and direction of magnetic field are same, then force is 0. If direction of current and direction of magnetic field, they are at 90 degree, then force will be ILB. And in case of a couple, F net will be equal to 0, but torque will be equal to M cross B, where M is I into. Got it or not? Or any doubt on anything in this? बच्चों,
No, sir.
अब नो सब कुछ कैसे आ सकता है, गलत है. Okay, then if you have some doubts you can stay, else enjoy, right? In the next class we'll do magnetic field, so it's, if possible try to go through NCERT once, right? It will help you. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.